Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Market, where every day we discuss everything to do with the modern market, that is the crypto market, the NFT market, and how to make some or a lot of money on the internet. Loaded up for discussion today, we have Eigenlayer going live and trading at around $4.20. That's a $7 billion FDV. We've got Donald Trump announcing a whitelist process going live for World Liberty DeFi product. And we've got Shape L2 going live with Stack minting, a fun way to explore, collect art, and build reputation by stacking medals. We've also got the latest on price action on crypto and NFTs, and the much anticipated interview with the legendary artist DeeKay Motion, where we will discuss his history, how he embraced NFTs, his success as an artist, and his latest drop on Shape, which is called Deeple. So stay tuned for that. We'll get there in just a little bit. But before we do that, we have legendary and Han in the co-host seats today. We're ready to get into it. But just a reminder, friends, that nothing that we say here is financial advice, because this market is very risky and we don't know anything for sure. So please proceed with caution and exercise your own judgment. With that out of the way, legendary, it is Tuesday. It's the 1st of October. How are you doing?
GM doing pretty well. What a big day. We have a pretty cool interview planned for the show. You made the perfect prediction yesterday. We have Eigenlayer. Yeah, you said Eigenlayer is gonna, I'm not gonna foreshadow the news, but you said Eigenlayer is gonna trade above what whale market thinks. You felt particularly bullish yesterday, and that played out, and that made me very happy for my own airdrop.
Very marginally, though. I mean, I was thinking it should be worth like 1.5x, and I think it was like 1.1x more.
Yeah, but when the alternative is 70% discount to what we see on Whales market or the other pre-markets, that is a massive difference in absolute numbers, even though it's only a 1.1x on the prediction price.
Yeah, I like it. We're going to speak about Eigenlayer a little bit more. Also, liking for this special occasion, legendary, this polo shirt that we've got rocking out, bringing it out. I've only seen this on a special occasion before. I like it.
Yeah, it's a special occasion polo shirt. The velvet only comes out when there's something special happening on the show, or when I'm at Web3 events and I need to have a bit more drip.
Like it. You got to see it. Remember, we're live on video as well. If you need to check out Legendary's polo shirt, we've got other big exciting stuff to talk about today as well. Han, welcome to the stage with us again. Great to have you with us again. Exciting times with everything that's happening at Shape. If you don't know, Han is the founder of Shape L2. It's just gone live fully and got stacks and stacks of quality artists dropping. A lot of excitement at the moment. Han, how has it been for you? How are you doing?
It has been very exciting in the background, and getting very little sleep. So it's been fun. Thanks for having me again.
Great. Very much looking forward to diving into not only the interview with DeeKay in just a little bit, who will be joining us at around the half-hour mark. So we've got the usual show up until then. We'll hit the headlines as usual. We'll hit the price action as usual. Then we'll get into the interview. But we've also got that little segment on Shape today, given that you've got some new mechanisms out in the last 24 hours that people would like to understand. So great to have you to be able to explain that with us in just a little bit. So let's get into it, starting with the price action in just a moment. But just before we do that, we're delighted to shout out our sponsor for today's show, Gondi. Gondi is the premier NFT lending platform. Just in the last week, Gondi has seen a $1 million loan given against 6 autoglyphs, a 34 ETH loan given against a 6-trait CryptoPunk, a $200,000 loan given against Videnza, just sold at Sotheby's, and a $600,000 loan given against 2 iconic X-Copy editions, The Last Selfie and Mortal. If you're in the business of NFTs, check out Gondi to earn some interest as a lender on your ETH or USDC, or as a borrower, you can unlock liquidity from your Grail assets. So shout out to Gondi for partnering with us for today's show. Let's get into the price action, as always, coming to you from the snapshot, which is pinned up top. In terms of the main movers, the main majors, Bitcoin is fairly flat at around 63.9K. ETH is up just 1% at 2.6. Solana is up 1.5% to $156. Getting into the headlines themselves, as we just mentioned, Eigenlayer goes live and trading at around $4.20. That's a $7 billion FDV. Unchained Pod reported that the token had a bullish debut, trading at around 43% of the trading took place on the Eigen USDT pair on Binance, which listed the token at the time of the unlock at 5 a.m. UTC, so a little bit earlier today. As Legendary said, that's much better than what the Whales market predicted, because usually stuff is always too high on Whales market. So appropriately priced there. Next, Donald Trump announcing whitelist process open for World Liberty DeFi product. He said that he promised to make America great again, this time with crypto. So we'll dive into some of the details in there in just a little bit. And then finally, final headline for today, Shape L2 goes live with stack minting, a fun way to explore, collect art, and build reputation by stacking medals. They say the permissionless chain for all creators. Share what you're minting today. Take your first step into Shape by minting your stack. So we'll discuss a little bit what that means and how that works in a little bit. So that is the price action. Those are the headlines. Legendary, should we head over to our NFT marketplace partner, Mintify, to see what is going on that side of things?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the JPEG market. We have Bored Apes being down a bit, being down almost 3%, sitting at a 10.65 ETH floor. Pudgies following the same trend, also down 2%, still way above the 10 ETH floor, sitting at a 2.25 ETH floor. Azuki's not following the trend. They are up 0.15% on the day, still at the 5.33 ETH floor. Miladies are actually down more than that. They're down almost 5% and back to a 2.78 ETH floor. And another collection I want to point out for today is Beeple's Everydays, the edition from 2020, which originally launched on Nifty Gateway. Very well remember minting that back in the day, and also realized that happened almost 4 years ago. However, that collection is up 13% over the last 24 hours, but more impressively, actually, it's up 52% over the last 7 days and has moved from a 5.2 ETH floor to almost an 8 ETH floor. So definitely a significant movement there. Even though that the volume hasn't been the greatest or the biggest over the last 24 hours, that's 20 ETH in volume. So that's just a couple of sales. However, the move over the week, over the last 7 days with 52% increase in price is definitely significant.
Very interesting. I think I saw Beeple announce a new piece. Is that correct? Am I making that up? I think here you go. Let me share my screen here. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is called Signal/Noise Tree of Knowledge. He literally tweeted this yesterday. Tree of Knowledge 2024. I don't know if there's any information apart from just the image that he shared, but I'm showing this on screen if you're watching in. Looks like another one of those really cool, like huge physical pieces, which are obviously digitally made in a particular way. Pretty cool. I think Beeple is considered increasingly strong when he produces these types of pieces, and maybe that's a little bit of a reaction in the other side of his market when he announces, one of these new things. Any thoughts there, Legendary?
Yeah, I think that would be a fair assumption. However, the price action has also happened over the last 7 days. Definitely a bit more of an uptick over the last day, but there seems to be more buying momentum than just on that post alone. But it definitely has contributed to that.
Okay. Maybe I'll come to Han for his thoughts, maybe a little bit on Beeple to the extent that you have some. But I said that there wasn't any more information. I just scrolled a little bit further and there was. I think this is kind of interesting. He announced this, the Tree of Knowledge piece. The work builds on the kinetic sculpture series first introduced with the Human One. Remember that Human One piece, which was like this big piece in a physical kind of box. But now has an interactive component that is inviting viewers to explore a more nuanced relationship between technology and nature. By turning the dial between signal and noise, viewers see the difference between a serene future where technology and nature coexist and a chaotic present filled with real-time data, media, and information overload. This looks pretty cool. I suspect this being sold anywhere will be quite expensive. But very, very cool. And would love to come to you here just before we get into the other big headlines. Any thoughts on these Beeple kind of physical pieces? I know you became a very, very obsessed digital art collector. Did you get much involved on the physical side as well?
I did not, but I think this piece is really great. So it reflects the Human One piece by Beeple, and then it's basically how digital art is being materialized into the physical world. We still experience through the five senses. And so having more surfaces where I can experience digital art is great. And so I love this piece.
I like that movement, actually. I noticed that myself as a collector. Maybe the newer generation will maybe experience art first digitally, and then we go in that direction where it's like, well, I'd kind of like a physical manifestation of this piece, and that's the direction of traffic. So I found that pretty fascinating, very, very interesting. When we've obviously got a lot more to discuss when it comes to art. If you're just joining us, we're going to be touching on shapes. Big announcement in just a little bit as the third headline for today. Then we've also got the DeeKay Motion interview coming up on the half-hour mark. Can't wait to have that conversation in just a little bit. But let's continue with the headlines as usual to get you up to speed with everything else that's happened in the space. Headline one, Legendary, is all about Eigenlayer. Do you want to kind of set us up with what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday on the show, we mentioned that the Eigenlayer airdrop will be tradable. What was actually interesting to see before we get into the valuation was the bet on Polymarket, where the question was, will it become tradable in September or not?
Yeah, I
And
saw this.
obviously that went up to a more than 90% chance, but then last minute it looked like the launch will happen in the first minutes of October 1st. So the odds went down almost to zero, and then Eigenlayer launched a couple of minutes early, which made the token tradable still in September, and obviously bumped the bet to resolve to yes with 100% on the yeses. So that was quite hilarious to see. What was very positive to see, and what we also have mentioned already, is the very strong FTV that the token came out at. We said yesterday that the prediction markets saw it around a $6.4 billion FTV. The token is currently, and I'm sharing this on screen, on CoinGecko trading at $4.10, which puts it at a $6.9 billion FTV, and has had a very, very strong launch. On that has even pumped up to $4.3, which constituted a $7.2 billion FTV. I think the remarkable thing on that, and it's also something that we pointed out in yesterday's analysis, was that while the circulating supply is reported at around 12-ish%, that actually the real float is lower than that, because a lot of people have chosen to either restake their Eigen or have just not claimed the second airdrop. So we did expect more volatility on the token, and it turned out to be upside volatility, to be a bullish price action on that. And that was very, very lovely to see.
Interesting. Excellent summary. I don't think we need to do more on Eigenlayer today because we kind of discussed it yesterday. Obviously, a very, very big restaking protocol, the biggest restaking protocol on Ethereum, did turn into a little bit of a black hole for a lot of ETH. So a lot of people trusting them with their ETH capital, and kind of rewarded, I think, with probably a reasonable airdrop for parking their capital with them for quite some time. So we'll continue to monitor that. Remember, there's other alternatives now. They do have competition. There's Symbiotic and there's Karak as well, just to name two other restaking protocols. So we'll monitor those and we'll keep reporting on them as necessary. Let's get into the second headline, Legendary. We've got this this Trump world. Hang on, let me get it right. World Liberty Fi. So he tweeted out to say that he promised to make America great again, this time with crypto. World Liberty Fi is planning to help make America the crypto capital of the world. The whitelist for eligible persons is officially open. This is your chance to be part of the historic moment. When I click through to the website itself, I can share my screen, Legendary, if you haven't got that one open. It says, get ready to be defiant. Begin your KYC verification by selecting your jurisdiction of residence. You can obviously choose to select in the US or just outside. You have two options. I think I clicked through, you had to connect a wallet, so I didn't see what happened there. But just as a general headline take here, Legendary, what's your thinking? I saw a lot of people on the timeline being like, wait, so this is actually a whitelist being created by the former president of the United States. What kind of timeline or universe are we in? Any reflections here? What are you thinking when it comes to Trump coming to market with a product. He stopped selling various products now, but now there's an actual DeFi platform. Where are you shaking out when it comes to thinking about this?
I don't know. Like I'm a bit torn on that. Like we said, on the one hand, seems to work with decent advisors who clearly understand what's going on in Web3, uses Web3 native mechanisms. We do have the whitelist on that. On the other hand, it feels like there's a lot of things happening before the election. We had the NFT sale. We had the events that you could attend. Now he's also selling watches, apparently. There's another DeFi platform. It feels, for my personal taste, just too much if you're in the run-up to an election to have 4 or 5 things that you're launching and selling, or deliberately capitalizing on, depending on which point of view you want to take on that.
Mm. Yeah, I think ultimately I'm kind of in the same bracket. I just think it's not reasonable at this point to continue to try to sell to this market. There's one thing being pro something and just being pro and like positioning your stance. I think this is maybe one step beyond that. Having said that, I kind of compare this a little bit with the Iggy mother token situation, where people were definitely talking about that as if, look, you might not like it. It might not be the way that you would like it to be, but this is the thing which could potentially bring more people into the space. So I don't know. I have reservations about that still, but maybe that's the way that more people will come in. And it actually, from a product perspective, this is maybe the business takeaway that I would think about. From a business perspective, it makes me even more conscious of how important it is to have distribution rather than building an excellent product. Think about all the fantastic DeFi products that already exist. And many people will just say, well, why not just push that to people? Why not just push those already existing fantastic products out? Because they don't own them, and because they have the distribution, potentially they think, well, why don't we own it instead of make our own? So it makes me, that's my personal learning from it. Like, make sure that you own the distribution or build the distribution so that you can, when you are ready, push the product that you need. Any final reflections on that, Legendary?
That's a very fair point, and I feel like out of every other product that he launched in or around Web3 that would theoretically have the highest distribution potential, as opposed to the NFT collections or other things that he has been experimenting with.
Interesting. Okay, I think that makes sense. Funky, your hand is raised. Just a quick one from you here before we move into the next headline. What's your final position here?
Real quick, yes. He's also a master of the physical and the digital, because you guys forgot when you're enumerating all the products that he is constantly out there shilling. He now has Trump coins. If you haven't seen this, he has physical coins that are actually like, made of silver or something like that, and they're Trump. So he's playing it both ways, digitally and physically. I had zero interest in this thing, but I might go ahead and just do the whitelist for the heck of it, because why not, for the culture.
I feel like that's what a lot of people's position. Not particularly interested, but might just do the whitelist anyway, just to see. Look, we'll continue to monitor it as always, and see where that shakes out. Let's get into the next headline, which is, of course, to do with Shape. Just yesterday, Shape announced the permissionless chain for all creators. And the first ability for people to mint their stack. It's a fun way to explore and collect amazing art. And you build your reputation on the network by stacking medals. Would love to go straight to Han here to ask, maybe first, Shape is live. It's a new L2 kind of focused on creators, focused on art as well and culture. You've gone live with this minting stack functionality. Do you want to speak to that and how it's been in the last maybe 12, 24 hours or so?
Yes, it has been it's been very busy in the background. And I mentioned before, I haven't gotten that much sleep. The team hasn't gotten that much sleep. It's been astounding to see the community really embrace Shape and the stack. So the stack is really interesting. It is it's kind of the gateway into Shape. So it's going to be the thing that you on it, there are various projects, and then for every project, there are these ways to explore the project. And if you do, there's like these milestones. For each milestone, there are these medals, and what's great about these medals is that according to the leaderboard, a lot of the projects that will get added to the stack, they will provide an allow list for the medals leaderboard. So it immediately has utility, has benefits, and it's just really a fun way to explore and collect on the chain. So the response from the community has been really great, and really appreciate it from the community.
Yeah, I've definitely seen people have been getting quite excited about that. I've also seen a few sellouts in certain collections. What have you noticed with artists dropping already? I know you've got some more official drops, kind of that are a bit more scheduled and coordinated, but other people have been dropping already, kind of getting excited. Do you want to speak to some of those that you've seen?
Oh, absolutely. We've already seen, for example, the Shunks, which is derived CryptoPunks. They sold out really fast,
I
and that
missed
was
out. I saw it and I just wasn't at my computer and I knew that they were going to go because they were so like well priced as well, right? They were just like
yeah,
almost free to mint, basically. I was pretty
absolutely.
upset that I missed those.
It was really fun, and we've already seen quite a few one of ones sell on Shape as well.
Okay.
And so I think 4 one of ones, uh, and 3 of them above 1 ETH, I believe. And so already the way that it's developed is that really great art is selling on Shape, and collectors are coming to Shape. So this is already turning into really the chain for creators, and really excited to see all the art and things that people create being able to be sold and explored and appreciated in Shape.
Mm. Yeah, sounds very, very exciting. And it's good to see you kind of got off to a good start in that respect. Um, I think I got my stack just a moment ago, which is kind of fun. So I'm excited to be participating as well. Um, Look, I think we've got through the headlines for today. Happy to bring those to you as usual. We've done the usual show, but now we'd love to move the show on to the special guest for today. Um, as needs no introduction really, but if you do need one, here it is. DeeKay was a prominent motion designer for some of the world's leading tech companies, including Apple and Google. He discovered NFTs in 2021 and started gaining widespread popularity in the crypto art space through strong support from very high profile collectors. His art is known for telling stories, addressing themes such as nostalgia and joy, as well as his social commentary. He's very influenced by the 1990s and 2000s gaming aesthetic, in particular Super Mario, which many of you will have seen the similarities to, which brings a lot of joy to people. And he's among the most sought after artists in the digital and NFT space. His works achieved records when he sold Life and Death for $1 million in April 2022 to Cosmo de Medici. Welcome to the stage with us, DeeKay. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you. Uh, that was such a great introduction. I feel like I don't need to say much, but I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us, man. Very much appreciate you coming in with us. Maybe if we start from the beginning in some respect, and before we explore this latest piece, I just want to set the scene for our listeners and viewers. Take us back to when you transitioned from your more corporate work to the NFT universe. What made you make that move from corporate artist to more full-time artist, and how did you feel at that time?
Well, it wasn't a hard transition, to be honest. It was a very gradual transition. I learned about the NFTs in the 2020s, but I faded away. But around 2021, when I heard news about Beeple drop on Nifty Gateway, I've been following Beeple for like more than 12 years since I was a student. So I knew that he was like a legit artist. He was like super passionate. And when I heard the news that he was doing a drop on Nifty Gateway, I thought, if he's doing it, maybe this NFT thing is legit, right? So that's when I started to focus. And then on 2021, early that year, I started to mint my own just personal work. And then I minted my first on the foundation. And then turns out that there are people who's interested in my work, and then they just start bidding. And then
Were you really surprised at the beginning? Like,
I was
what was your
really,
expectation?
yeah, because all this personal works that I've done for the past 6-7 years, like it was just for pure enjoyment. I wasn't really planning to do anything with it, and then I just happened to like just choose one of the fun work that I thought people would enjoy. So I chose that, and then I minted it, and then it turns out that there were like 2 people who was really wanting that piece, and then they were having a bidding war. And I was like, "Are these real people?" I was lost. I was very confused, and but yeah, it turns out that there are people who really appreciate the works that I do. So it was a very eye-opening moment.
That's really cool. I don't know if you remember then, but like I've got some of your work here. We're sharing this on screen. Remember, we do this live on video as well. We're live on X video. We're live on YouTube video as well. Do you remember which piece in particular that there was a bidding war going on for? I've got some selection here from your one of ones.
That
Oh,
I made in like just 2 days, and then it was a small piece. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. But
okay. And
basically, it's a character riding a skateboard. I mean, the skateboard is riding the person, so it's like a reverse. Um, but yeah,
I actually remember that one. I've seen that one. Out
yeah.
of these pieces that we're looking at here, is there any piece that has like particular meaning to you that brings back a special memory, or one that was maybe the hardest technically to produce?
I would say Destiny for sure. Then Destiny's on the second row and second.
This one?
Um, yeah, that one. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Uh, it's on the second row and the second.
The second row up here.
Yeah,
Here
right
we
there.
go.
That
This
one.
one.
That one. So this piece was particularly very difficult, and the reason is because ever since I realized that the type of art that I do can be sold and make money was a very eye-opening moment, right? So then I realized that I always thought of myself as an animator. I never thought of myself as an artist.
Interesting.
And working for a corporate company, uh, I always thought that I was an animator. But then it was like a moment when I finally realized that I can be an artist. Like the type of the work that I do can be appreciated as an art. So ever since I realized that, I wanted to make a very meaningful piece that I don't really necessarily like make a joke out of it. Like a lot of my works are very like uh it's pretty light. This is a lot of joke and like something that people can relate to. But then it was like something that I wanted to put a lot of story, thoughts, and meaning to it. And yeah, like this is the first piece that I probably thought that I wanted to express myself as an artist and not taking things too lightly, making my piece pretty serious. So it was a first
Interesting.
attempt, and then it turns out that many people liked it, and Cosmo really wanted it. So it was like a big all-time high moment when this was sold.
That's amazing. Did you almost feel like a pressure then as you started to sell for more expensive prices? You thought that maybe I need to make the art more serious or more meaningful and move away from the light-hearted stuff?
It's always a pressure. There's always a pressure. It's never gonna go away, and I you know and I just have to I just have to put my mindset where I can't please everyone, and that it's almost impossible for me to like beat the all-time high every time.
For sure.
And just having that uh light mindset, but also not too light. I think I just have to be in a healthy mentally state where I can produce a work that I'll be able to appreciate myself and also to people as well. So
Amazing. So what then, you just spoke about like trying to always beat a previous all-time high can be not the best way to approach this stuff. What is really motivating you now then? And we're going to speak about like the Shape partnership in a little bit and what you're about to drop. But how do you think about your art now that you've had so much success and you know you've got that validation from everyone that like, yes, we really like this art style and this artist. What is kind of motivating you now, and how do you think about creating new things moving forward?
If you think about the NFTs in general, it's not always about art, right? The NFT term is a technology. So
True.
and I see that. So I wanted to experiment. I wanted to try something new that isn't just for viewing purpose. Like even though I make like animations for mainly for viewing purpose, I wanted to explore what's possible out there. And Han happens to, reach out, and then he wanted to be part of this amazing journey. So, and he told me all these possibilities, that could happen. And then, I was convinced. And now I'm here like exploring, experimenting, and seeing what's possible and whatnot. And here I am. Yeah.
Exciting. Maybe it makes sense to go to Han here then. To when you reached out to DeeKay to explain some of the possibilities, how did that conversation go? What kind of things were you trying to inspire with to explain some of the possibilities from your perspective, and what kind of made him agree with you in the end?
Yeah, I'll just mention one thing about Destiny as well, just briefly. So, what's so great about DK's work and why I'm such a fan is that every one of his art pieces, they express something like very core about life. So, the Destiny is about a love story. You see two people going through, you know, the maze of finding love, and then they find it. And every one of his pieces just encapsulates just that the core beautiful story of life, and that's why I love it in such a cute way. So I just wanted to say that about Destiny, and then reach out to DeeKay. I think we have been chatting before, just casually, and then talked about what Shape is, what's possible on it, and then we just got to just thinking through what are the things that we could do together in the context of Shape, where Shape has it's going to be a good place for creators. It's going to be a place where NFTs can come to life because they're programmatic. And then we just hit it off. Like DeeKay fully understood what it could be, and how it could be play a role in his vision. So it was really exciting to partner with DeeKay.
That's very, very exciting. DeeKay, from your perspective, how was that conversation, and what was it about the potential that Shape was kind of presenting to you that was kind of exciting above and beyond what you already do?
If I were to be extra honest, like more than understanding the technology behind the Shape, I was more convinced by Han's genuinity. I mean, I'm a very visual and artistic person, and I rarely understand a lot of the technological stuff.
Okay.
But without even me understanding 100%, like I was more convinced that he just wanted to make something cool, and it wasn't. It didn't feel like one of those typical, corporate CEO who's trying to make buck out of it. And I felt that. So that genuine kind of touched my heart. So I decided to I'll give it a try, and we'll see how it goes.
That's amazing. It's funny how, as much as people talk about the tech and how obviously we're in an industry that's really pushing the tech in a particular direction, and we're pushing forward, how the importance of human interactions and relationships is still probably the most important thing. So I think that will resonate with a lot of people when they try to think about how to make their own decisions moving forward as well. Maybe one question before we dive into the Deeple stuff specifically. One from our audience, Alan on YouTube, says she's a big fan. She asked, what is it that DeeKay loved about Super Mario and so much, and how did it inspire your work?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people can tell that my work is very heavily influenced by, 70s, 80s retro game, and Super Mario was actually one of the biggest influence. And because of that, you see a lot of my works similar to that, like a side angle view without a camera movement. And like I still remember like playing a Super Mario as a kid. That was like the purest and biggest joy for me at the time. Like I couldn't wait for school to end and just go back home and just play Mario game. And like I never forgot that enjoyment, like the joy of it. So I kept that. I've been holding that ever since then. And then I just grew up, and then as once I became an adult, like I wanted to somehow express that feeling that I had when I was a kid through my art. So um, yeah, I think it's all the other type of work that I do. It's just showing my childhood like beautiful memories, and I'm planning to do more of that.
Love it. I think that's definitely the huge takeaway. We've got multiple people in the YouTube comments saying how much joy your art brings. So I think that resonates with a lot of people. So that's awesome to hear. Let's go into this latest piece then, DeeKay. I've got this up on screen. We've got the Deeple art. We can share like some of the technical details a little bit later, like if people want to mint, what the process is. We'll explain that all in just a little bit. But just speaking to the art itself, and Han, definitely want to bring you in on this as well from your perspective. But do you want to just speak to this piece, this latest piece that you're coming up with, what the thinking was, and why you've made the decisions you have?
Of course. So uh, to briefly introduce this project, the name Deeple comes from a combination of my name, DK, and the word people. And Deeple is an avatar creator that allows anyone can design using my signature art style. Um, each item can be equipped and unequipped, and all items are individual NFTs that can be bought and sold through secondary market. And I think that concept itself was very unique. It is something that I had in my mind for the longest time. And then when I told this idea to Han, and he said that this is possible on Shapes, I was like, all right, let's do it.
So is the idea that these different equipment pieces exist as different objects, or do you kind of put them together and they become one NFT? Are you able to explain a little bit about that technicality?
Yeah, sure. So first you need a default Deeple, which is like a just blank Deeple without any clove.
Got it.
And then you buy the item separately, and then once you buy it, you have like all this the base Deeple, the default Deeple, and then the 4 items like top, bottom, shoes, whatever. And then you can on the website you can actually customizing it by just clicking onto it, and then when you click onto it, like you put it on your default Deeple, and once that's done, and once you press save, it actually make a transaction on Shape that it saves that. So it's always updatable NFT, and
Yeah.
and then the individual items that you have, it's forever yours, and you can upload it on the or list it on the secondary market if you like, or buy some more items on the secondary market if you like, and then you can always like put it off or put it on and just play around with it, and that's the whole purpose of this project.
Interesting. One question I have on that, obviously one of the big use cases or one of the big product market fits for NFTs, especially ones with like characters and that have a social aspect, is that people use them as profile pictures, right? People have become obsessed with having them as profile pictures. Have you given much thought to that? Like, do you want your pieces to be used as almost people's characters? Like, do you want people to see themselves in the characters and then want to kind of take on those characteristics? Or do you just want them happy for them to kind of use them in whatever way and appreciate as from a collector perspective?
I mean, 100%. Like I want people to use this Beeple as their identity, and then have like a deeper relationship to it. But the unique thing about Deeple is that when you think about PFP, right, it's always a cut out and then head focused profile picture, right? And I wanted to try something different where the whole character itself, the whole avatar, like the whole full body, be a PFP. So once you mint it and then you customize it, and then there's a download button, right? And then when you download it, there's there's a file for original art, and then there's also a PFP version, which isn't necessarily like a cutout of the Deeple, but it's actually a full body of it. But then it matches nicely on your Twitter profile if you like to put it up. So I want people to have like a deeper connections to the Deeple, and yeah.
Amazing. Han, what about you? From your perspective, when you were kind of brainstorming this piece with DeeKay, what were your thoughts on it? Did you have much input? Did you just let him go about his business? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was really fun just coming with ideas together with DeeKay. And it really is interesting because when DeeKay and I were chatting initially, it was just an idea. We just had an idea. We're thinking through all the possibilities, and we're both kind of imagining what it could be in our heads. And it's kind of surreal to see it now in front of the screen. There's a UI, you can mint the thing. And that whole journey was really fascinating. And it has been such a pleasure working with DeeKay on this. And just calling out Transient, which is a company that deals with they mint NFTs. They have a studio that you can use to create NFTs and like live inscriptions on NFTs. They do a lot of things, but they worked very closely with DeeKay to implement it. So just calling them out, they helped actually make all this a reality. And then the last thing I'll say about Deeple is if you actually go to deeple.xyz, and you can click on the third icon from the top. So the third icon from the left, you can actually try out equipping your Deeple without having a Deeple, the default Deeple. And if you
I'm
do
just
it,
doing that now for the people who are watching in. I'm just
Yeah.
playing around with this now.
it's actually really fun. And the thing that has been so remarkable about Deeples, the way that DeeKay has designed it, is that when you are designing a Deeple, they look so different. So like when you make the choice of, oh, I'll have this kind of hair, I'll have this kind of shirt, this kind of pants, put a backpack, some accessories, the end outcome is that they really feel different. Like each Deeple comes to life. And so inside of the Shape team, we had a lot of we had a lot of fun with this thing. So everybody created their own little Deeple, downloaded a Deeple picture, and what it turned out is like every one of them designed the Deeple to kind of look like them. And if you know the person, you could actually tell that the Deeple was like that person. So what DeeKay has done is quite remarkable. You would think in a however many m by n pixel picture, he really has somehow managed to capture like the soul of a person if you choose to equip your Deeple according to how that person looks. So really kudos to DeeKay. It's pretty. I think it's an amazing achievement, and I'm pretty excited about where
The level of customization here is pretty high. Like I'm going through picking out my hair color, eyewear, hoodies, backpack, shoes, trousers. Now I've got like different options for accessories. I think I'll put a camera on it. DeeKay, how long did this take to kind of plan and structure and think about? Like there's a lot of detail here for people.
Props to Transient Lab, where I came up with this crazy idea, and then they're the ones who made it possible, like technical terms. And at first they were hesitant. I feel like it wasn't like the level of the complexity is so high that they weren't. I don't feel like they weren't really sure if it's possible. But then of course, they're really talented and they were able to do it. And then also one thing that I like to mention is that I designed it in a way that if I for some reason decide to uh, use the Deeple, certain Deeple, and then feature that on my future work, like one-on-one or edition, like I designed it in a way that I can actually animate it. So it's not just like a simple static image, but that design language will smoothly like fall into my one-on-one works and edition works. And then yeah, like I'm very excited to feature some of those Deeples on my future work.
That's very cool. It's kind of like the concept of how, I don't know if you've seen, but like the pudgy penguins, for example, obviously that those pieces already exist, and then other people have gone off and created businesses. One is the Orange Cap card game, and what they did was that they said, look, if you want your penguin to be featured in this work, you can do some application, and then they got integrated. So there were loads of people that were super proud that it was like their specific penguin. And I went to the event in Singapore recently. They were like looking at these new cards, and it was actually their penguin. And it just creates like, it's just a new feeling, right? I don't know if that feeling's necessarily been possible before, but for you to be able to feature some of your fans' identities in your work, that's a really cool thing. Is that like kind of the similar line of thinking in a way?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's very similar. And as I'm the whole reason I'm in the Web3 space is because of this lovely collectors and holders of my art. And I'm always thinking about how I can somehow include them into my journey. And that was a pretty solid idea that I had for a long time, and I'm happy to do that.
Love it. Sounds really, really interesting. It's been great to have this conversation with you. As we draw towards the conclusion now, let's just make sure everyone knows the details for this drop. We've got multiple people in the comments, asking for drop details, also asking for whitelists. Any cheeky spots left on the allow list from DJ Soy, Justin Stefano asking when mint, how much? Yeah, there's a lot of FOMO going on in the comments. I've got some of the details here, which I'll share some of the details, and you guys can speak to any of the things that I miss. So we've got 75% of the OWL list allocated to your top holders, and that's like something that's taken place with the Deca leaderboard. There's a 15% allocation to public pre-mint, which is happening, I think closes in a day or two, and then 10% allocated for just hand picking and a few more maybe giveaways. So maybe Han, is that fairly accurate? Is that what people need to know? What other details do people need to know apart from those core bits of information?
Yeah, so this is definitely accurate. For the people who are already not DeeKay top holders, definitely register in the public pre-mint. If you go to DeeKay's Twitter X profile, you'll see that it's pinned. This tweet is pinned, and then there's a link to the public pre-mint. The last thing, and then of course DeeKay will be choosing based on people who have supported his community and supported DeeKay. He'll also do giveaways, and there is also a top medals leaderboard that has an allocation of 20. So, but the important thing to keep in mind is that this is just the first round. So the first round is 500. There will be other rounds that are coming up, and DeeKay will announce the details at some point. So there will be more. And I have so much. I do not have a Deeple. I am on the pre-mint list, and I hope I get it. And I'm really excited for the next rounds that are coming up.
Okay, well, if there are any whitelists going, there's a lot of people in the YouTube comments who are kind of getting quite vocal here. There's a lot of caps locks writing modern market listener whitelist, all in caps locks, DeeKay. So just so you've noted that. in terms of the price, the people are asking, it's 0.08 for a default Deeple. The individual items are 0.008 ETH each. Anything else from your side, DeeKay, that you'd like to share with us as we kind of wrap up?
Yes. Lastly, I'd like to mention that it's fair for public people to be a little bit disappointed that there aren't that many spots for public, but I have to take care of my holders from my past works, so that's why I chose a 75% and 15% for the public and 10% for handpick and other giveaways. But just because it's a high percentage for the DK's top holders, that doesn't mean that it's gonna mint out everything. There's just like too many holders who are not aware of any of this right now, and then it's also a short notice, and if they miss a chance to mint, of course those leftover spots will most likely go to the handpick sections and also to the public as well. So just keep in mind that even though the 15% might be low, but in the coming days it could be higher, depending on how it goes. So
Makes sense.
I mean, I just want to create a genuine community that with people who truly enjoys this kind of artwork. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Love it. And I think prioritizing the kind of core collector base is probably quite important to make sure that you do continue that genuine connection with the people who've supported you for the longest time. So I think people will understand that at a minimum. And I guess the best thing to do then is to stay tuned, keep following DeeKay, and stick the notifications on. Maybe even Shape will be distributing some of that information as you need to know it over the next couple of days. But that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, DeeKay, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to learn about Deeple and have you with us to kind of explain the process and thinking behind this new work. Thanks, Han and Shape, for facilitating this conversation, giving us the behind the scenes lowdown on how you think about art and coordinating these releases. And thanks to our partner for today's show, Gondi, for seeing the vision for the Modern Market and Shape partnership. Remember, Gondi is the premier NFT lending platform where just in the last week, there's been millions of dollars of loans given against autoglyphs, CryptoPunks, Videnzas, and X copies, to name just a few. So check them out if you're looking to earn as a lender or unlock liquidity as a borrower. Thanks, of course, to all of you tuning in today. Remember, we do this every day, Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. We're live on X. We're live on video and YouTube, and you can catch up with us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too. Just search Modern Market and we will be there. Thanks, DeeKay. Thanks, Han. Thanks, Legendary. Have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.